Happy New Year's, everyone. In Cantonese, we would say 新年快樂 or 恭喜發財, basically saying Happy New Year and wishing you good luck, good fortune, good things to come. I am a believer in being able to reset and restart yourself, your routines, create new goals, and pursue different things anytime during the year, but there's just something about where the calendar year restarts that just kind of gives us that extra boost of motivation and inspiration, I guess, because everyone's talking about, new things to come. 2025 is the year of the snake, which is what I am. I was born in 2001. So this is my second trip around the Chinese zodiac. I wanted to record my goals as a creative for 2025, just so I have something to kind of like a reference point to keep looking back at and to maybe keep myself accountable. So my first goal is I want to tap into my inner child, which you can see I'm trying to do here. I feel like I was so much more creative as a kid, and I would just let my imagination run wild, and I would come up with such cute little ideas and stories and whatnot, and I kind of miss that. And I think my drawings and my art could really benefit from a looser imagination. I think the bigger thing is that I want to think less of appealing to algorithms and specific audiences. I want to just draw what comes to my mind naturally, to that inner child in me, and people who like it will be drawn to it, and people who don't like it won't be. And I want to be okay with that and less concerned about what's popular and what will do well online and what will appeal to the broadest audience. And I think I struggle with that because, as someone who's trying to make something of my art, I am having to think about what other people might like, unfortunately. But I just want to shift more of my focus and more of my creative energy to drawing just straight from the mind, coming up with ideas off the dome and expanding on those, and not trying to emulate what I think other people would enjoy. My second goal as a creative is to improve my character expressions. And I feel like you can see why right here. I feel like most of my characters just kind of have the same expressions, very kind of flat and not expressive. And I want to study cartoon illustrations, comics, how people express exactly what they want their character to be expressing with so few strokes, I think maybe a lot of my characters have this blank expression and hollowness to them, maybe because I'm heavily inspired all the time by Hollow Knight. As far as things like comics and character illustrations go, I really do want to improve on facial expressions and honestly just faces in general. Another goal is to branch into more multimedia projects, and I have been doing that via zines. I will draw, type, write, cut and paste scrapbooking and whatnot when making zines, so that's been a fun way to do that. But I would love to incorporate different mediums into my artwork more, as well as including different types of media into making my art. I also want to produce different types of art, art through videos like this, long form, maybe short form, and also through zines, through prints, through stickers, maybe even stationery if all the rest goes relatively smoothly. But I want to create more than just one thing. I mean, ultimately that is my goal, is to create many different manifestations of my art in different forms, And lastly, I want to be able to tell a story with my art. And what I mean by that is to get a message across or tell a short story in just a few panels of a character. Ideally, without even any text. I love those comics where you kind of get what's going on without being told anything, but also because of that, everyone kind of like interprets it their own way, especially horror comics. I love horror comics, and they just kind of like leave you with this like eerie, creepy, unsettled feeling, and I would love to be able to do that as well. So with like improving character expressions and being able to tell a story through my art, I mean, they kind of like all come together to make my art more interesting to look at, I think. And another thing that kind of adds onto that slash is the same thing is making my characters be active and doing things in their drawings. Also the clothing that they wear and the accessories on them and the backgrounds behind them. Like here I drew a little rocker kitty with a guitar, like an axe or like a spear or something, driving it into the ground. Oh, and I love impact frames. I want to include that in my art more too. As for the year previous though, I'm pretty proud of the progress and improvements that I have made. I didn't set aside very much time for a while of learning new techniques and practicing and improving, because it really is just consistent and constant practice. Like that's how you get better, right? And I feel like I didn't do that for a long while, but this year I picked it back up again, and I feel like I made more progress than I ever had in like one short span of time, and I definitely learned a lot. I improved my technique, and I also feel like I've learned a lot more about my own personal like style and what I like to draw, what works for me, what mediums I like and stuff like that, and learning what my strengths and what my go-tos are and whatnot, and also learning where my weaknesses were and what I definitely needed to practice more. Yeah, I think those are some reasonable and achievable goals for myself in 2025. There's a lot of time between now and December 31st, so we'll see. Let me know if you guys are also setting goals for yourself as either creatives or anything really personal, career, academic wise. I would love to hear them, and thank you for sticking around and watching me doodle this silly little cat. All the usual stuff, like, subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Really doing this on like 3 hours of sleep isn't a smart idea because I'm so tired.